What's up, sons? It's Blind Run with Son of a Tech once again. I'm out here at the farm with my son, Mr. Victor, who's going to be helping us today as well because we have a lot of cleanup to do. And basically, inventory, we're going to start cleaning up all the old rigs that we moved all the GPUs off of into Octominers, cleaning them up, getting them listed for sale. So yes, if you're interested in some of this stuff, definitely stay tuned. I believe it's going to be at shop.sonofatech.com. That URL is not ready right now, so if you go there right now, it's not ready. But I do have already have a Shopify that I just have to reactivate and set up over there. And then we have a ton of stuff to get cleaned up. So kind of first things first though, we are going to be moving the ASIC miner that I have over here back into the farm because it is finally cooled down. Of course it's cooled down. You know, ETH no longer mineable, nothing's profitable for GPUs, and we have good temperatures. So if we click in on this 3070, it's currently mining ETH proof of work. Our intake temperature is 37C. Yeah, for a lot of people that's hot. You know, even still pretty hot, but it's pretty cool overall compared to what it has been, which has been like 50C. And then basically we had a little wind tunnel here going on where we had this door open when we would need to, because sometimes it would be even too hot to run this and we would only run it while we were here. But we had one AC unit in the office here and we created this little wind tunnel for the ASIC miner. The lonely ASIC miner in this wind tunnel, it would then blow through here and exhaust out into the rest of the farm. So that's kind of how we had it going. So I'm gonna go ahead and move that into here, over here. And then my son said, well, if we're gonna do this, we're just gonna do one at a time. We're gonna take pictures, and I think he has a good idea. We're gonna make a video, we're gonna talk about it on video as we go through them, what the motherboard was, what our experience was with it, what CPU is in there, and all of that. So we're just gonna start tearing down all of these frames and cases and talking about it and getting everything cleaned up for sale. We also have a couple more in here, but that is the plan. Obviously, like we talked about before, you guys saw us do the entire conversion over to Octominers. Huge shout out to Chili. I got to meet him at the mining conference. You can check out the affiliate link down in the description below if you're interested in moving your rigs over to Octominers. And then we have our little server over here as well. Still, everything's cranking along as far as that goes. The X5 is offline. I'm probably going to take the L3 Plus offline as well. And then the S10 is still online, solo mining Bitcoin in hopes that we hit a solo block and can pay rent for the next year, right? That's all right, so let's go ahead and get into it and get this ASIC miner moved. I got to move the power cable and all that over to here. I think we're just going to put it back over here, so on the ground. I never cleaned up this side either. So this will be the next side we kind of clean up, I guess. But you get the power cables moved first. Yeah, I want to cable manage this side at some point. But for now, it is what it is. So this is the Koi miner. I highly advise against these. They've had lots of issues, even to the point to where BT miners stopped selling them. But if you want a good option, BT miners has the M30s, which are tanks essentially. Highly recommend them, or come highly recommended from a lot of the crowd that I spoke with. So Watts miners are pretty solid. Of course, profitability in Bitcoin's pretty bad overall right now. And then what we've just been doing with this one is essentially playing the lotto. And you know, that's kind of the state of a single Bitcoin miner at this time. We could play the lotto on a different network, Digibyte or Bitcoin Trash, but we're playing it on the big boy network. So there you go. Now that that's cranked up and going, I'm gonna get some of this stuff cleared out And then we're gonna start cleaning up, tearing down rigs, and putting stuff up for sale. So yeah, let's do it. All right, I hope you guys are ready for the fun. We're gonna start with this rig. This is in a Rosewell case. And what I had started doing, because they got really loud with the little fan brackets, is I started taking the fan brackets out and just putting the 120 millimeter fans underneath the GPU mounting rail with these Rosewell cases. And these are the Rosewell 4U server cases. You can't purchase them anymore. I'll probably be keeping all of them because I really do like it. So, I mean, unfortunately, sorry, probably not gonna sell them because also shipping would be a little ridiculous as well. So in here as well, we have two 80 millimeter server fans, and that essentially was for the exhaust. And some of the issues that I ran into there was that most motherboards, right, as well as most of the fan rails that came with this in the first place, did not actually support the fan speed on these server fans. So you had to get outside, essentially, fan controllers for them. And I'll show you what we used. We had these 6-pin ones. 1 second. There we go. That'll work right there. Oh, they're not here, huh? No, they're not. Really? All right, so there was a couple of ways you could handle it. One is using a breakout board like this one, which I'll show you. That actually has fan connectors on it. But if you wanted to use a power supply that basically went into it and fit in a case like this, you would need to use a separate 6-pin to fan kind of control board. And I'll leave a link to that down in the description. They're only like a few bucks on Amazon. With inflation now, probably like 15 bucks or something like that. But as you can see here, these come from Parallel Miner. We got to pull this board out anyways, but this board comes from Parallel Miner, and you can see it has all the fan headers on it. Maybe you can see it. There we go, get that out. And so essentially you have all the fan headers, and this will actually provide enough power to the server fans to actually run them. You can get this off Parallel Miner. I'll leave it linked down below. Or of course we'll probably be, well, I think we'll be selling a couple of those. I don't know which ones at this point. So, as well. So this is actually, as well, that was one that worked with 24 pins, so you could have your 24 pin plugged in with your CPU power. You need to get a box for all the power cables. And then we still have pretty much all of these risers plugged in as well. Big thing being though, of course, we didn't use any M.2 adapters. We'll be talking about some M.2 adapters here shortly. For this one, we just had 4 GPUs in here. We had a 6900 XT, a 6700 XT, a 6800, and I believe it was just a 6600 XT. So we only had 4 GPUs in here. It was kind of just hanging out, and that's all we needed. I believe the CPU we're gonna pop out here at the house maybe, because I don't think I do have a screwdriver. So let me go get the screwdriver. Let's see what CPU we're working with. I use the iFixit toolkit. By the way, I know a lot of people use that, but if you don't have one yet, you can check out the affiliate link down below. They're pretty awesome. Yeah, let's do one size bigger. I like to take it off in a cross pattern just to make sure that I'm not putting any uneven pressure on the CPU. Oh, there we go. Yay, a little abrupt. All right, so this is the 5600X. We have done hash rate tests on this. Obviously a nice low power processor. I'm actually going to be taking this processor and repurposing it and putting it in another motherboard over here that I have. I'll actually show it to you guys. I'm going to be putting it in this ASRock Taichi motherboard, which I was originally going to sell, but then I realized I needed a rig for my daughter at her mom's house, and there are not very many that have essentially, or I don't have any more with Wi-Fi on them. So this is the last one with Wi-Fi, so she's gonna get a really nice motherboard for that one. So we're gonna put that into here. This is gonna get shipped off over to my daughter's next build, and we're gonna use the 5600X in it because it makes the most sense. And then I have some Trident Z Neo at the house that we'll put in here as well. And we'll be using that same cooler as well with that one. Let me get this out of the way. We are not going to be selling any of this. Now, this motherboard in particular is probably a bit of an overkill if you were just going to mine off of it. The nice thing about it though is that it does have an 8-pin and a 4-pin additional CPU, so it can provide that extra power if you were going to go for a higher overclock on a 5000 series CPU like a 5950X. But most people obviously can check out Rapid Mining, excuse me. Red Panda is good too, but Rapid Mining for the CPU mining side of things, you know, you are probably going to be looking at just not needing that additional CPU anyways, because you're going to be undervolting it. So once again, like, this motherboard's pretty much overkill for it. I would use it. I will probably, not would, I will probably use it in another build, because you do have essentially 3 M.2s on it. This is the ASRock B550 Steel Legend. You got 3 M.2s on it. You got 2 PCIe by 16 and 2 by 4, and it gets the job done. So I think this one's a good one for a higher powered Ryzen CPU for somebody that's going to go wired or wants to buy an adapter later. Probably be good with like a 5800 or 5900 or 5950X. Of course, main system builders we ran into a problem here. So sometimes this happens. See here, we get this stuck on the back of the board. Sometimes you can use pliers, or in my case, I should be able to use the iFixit toolkit to find one that fits it. Ta-da! And I'll use this side here. I think I can hold it with my fingers. Let's find out. Nope! Definitely gonna have to go get some pliers. Alright, so I think I took all my pliers to the house, but we're just gonna use some vice grips here. Gently use them, hopefully. I don't really want to jack up the... I don't know, that should maybe be good enough. Let's see. Nope. Need to be a little tighter. Alright, pliers would have been much better. Alright. A little unfortunate, but I think that will be perfectly fine. We don't want to forget the back plate because we will need that later. And actually, I'll go ahead and take the mounts off the other one and put it on this one so we can package this one up, because this is the one we're going to put up for sale, I think. Yeah, this is. Okay, so for the rest of this rig, stuff that was in here was obviously just the 6 pins that came with the parallel miner. And these are just 6-pin to 8-pin PCIe powers. You're gonna have to get a whole box for those and start boxing them up. I don't know if we'll list these for sale or whatever. It seems like it might be kind of difficult to test and see which ones are, you know, good and which ones aren't. I don't know what this fan's do. Oh, this was connected to help cool one of the 5700s at one point that had dead fans on it. And these are the risers that we used in this particular build. So this was the 006C, and I have a ton of these risers. For the most part, I had really good luck with them. You know, risers are kind of the one thing that go out a lot. It's the basic USB. It does have the 6-pin, which I highly recommend if you're going to use risers, that you have a 6-pin. That's the most important thing. Do not power with Molex or SATA. So you can see that these actually, the 006Cs, you can make them a little cheaper, I think, if you just do 6-pin. So that's why we ended up with a lot of these. Now, I'll show you, there's actually a different setup right here too, which are the, I believe, the 10Cs. So 6C, as you can see, like we said, one single PCIe, no additional power, nothing like SATA powered available or Molex. So there's that. However, as opposed to that, we do have one in here that wasn't one of those. Looks like it was probably a replacement or other way around. As you can see here, this is the version 10C with a 4-pin Molex and SATA option. I would recommend never using these unless you are very certain you're not pulling over a certain amount of power. Pretty much, which is never the case anymore. And then a 6-pin, which is the one you'd want to use on this particular 10C, version 10C PCIe riser. All right, son, so this is pretty much what we're gonna do. I'm gonna tear down one rig at a time, just like we did here. We're gonna go over all the parts that are in that rig. We're gonna talk a little bit about them and my experience with them, and then we'll kind of get them all cleaned up afterwards, and we will post them up for sale somewhere. Either sonofatech.locals.com, we'll probably start to post there. If we can't get sales through there, we'll get my Shopify account back up, and we'll start listing it out there. My son's going to be helping me out, so we're going to get started on working on this. First things first, obviously, is going to be cleaning this rig up the rest of the way, getting it all dusted out and getting all the risers in one spot, all of the cables in another spot. We'll have to go through the process of like testing risers and all that, which is going to be crazy. So, you know, stay tuned. I think it's going to be a lot of good content, and you should learn some stuff as we go through this, because there's a lot of stuff just looking at some of these where I'm like, oh yeah, that motherboard had that problem, this one had that problem, and so on. Obviously with today's motherboard, the B550 Legend, that's a little bit of a different case because it was a 5600X, and yeah, it's just a little bit of a different case than you would really expect, but because, you know, it was only running 4 GPUs on it. The BIOS did everything we needed. We didn't try to do any of the M.2 stuff on it. And this motherboard will be up for sale as well here soon. So if you're interested in this motherboard, let me know and we'll get it out to you. We do have the box for it and everything as well, so we'll take pictures of that as needed too. So thanks everybody for watching. Be sure to hit the like, comment, subscribe, and notification bell down below, and I'll see you next Tuesday. For additional content that also goes into more opinionated pieces surrounding the politics around crypto, make sure you check out sonofatech.locals.com. There you can become a member for free, or even choose to support for basically additional content at $5 a month. It's helping me stay alive through the crypto winter.